The types of clients that PRN Funding prefers factoring brokers to refer to us are basically any type of vendor that's selling goods or providing services to a medical provider. So if you think of temporary or staffing agencies, medical transcription services, medical coding and billing companies, medical supply agencies, any type of company really that is selling directly to a medical provider is the perfect client for PRN Funding. A client can definitely start up with PRN Funding if they're a brand new business, or even if they have credit problems, even if they've had bankruptcies. It doesn't really matter so much to PRN Funding for this business owner to be a factoring client, because PRN Funding is mostly concerned with the creditworthiness of the debtors of the client. Accounts receivable factoring is not a business loan. It's different than a loan. PRN Funding doesn't lend money to our clients. What we do is purchase the receivables outright and advance cash on the receivables. So for example, if you have an invoice that's $1,000, PRN Funding would purchase it and advance your client around $800. We would wait for the debtors to pay PRN Funding the full $1,000, at which point we would take our fee and release the difference back to your client. The types of invoices that qualify for factoring with PRN Funding is basically an invoice for a service or a good that has either the services have already been rendered or the goods have already been delivered and accepted by the client. And basically, there are no restrictions on the size of invoice that PRN Funding can buy. We can start with companies by purchasing their very first invoice if need be, whether it's hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. PRN Funding doesn't have any minimum amounts, nor do we have any maximum amounts. PRN Funding's factoring services are geared towards our clients' needs, so as they grow, so too does the credit line. A lot of potential factoring clients ask PRN Funding, does it matter where their business is located? And the answer to that is no. But it does matter, however, where their debtors are located or their customers. As long as the customers are located somewhere within the United States, PRN Funding is able to factor their invoices. Another question that commonly comes up is there a term to PRN Funding's factoring contract? And the answer to that is no. Our term agreement is open-ended, and that's different from a lot of other factoring companies that request that you stay in a factoring relationship for 1 year or even sometimes 2 years. PRN Funding is different. We're very flexible with our terms, and we understand that businesses go through ups and downs. Sometimes they may need to factor for a couple of months. Sometimes they may need to factor for a couple of years. Whichever is the case, PRN Funding is able to help. What's required before PRN Funding can buy the invoice? Basically that the services have already been rendered and or that the debtor has accepted the goods and is happy with what was delivered. PRN Funding will usually verify that the customer is happy with the services provided and or with the goods delivered prior to funding on that invoice. For more information about PRN Funding's factoring services, please visit PRN Funding's website at www.prnfunding.com.